Hey guys, still here and welcome back to Stormworks. In the previous episode of Stormworks I was designing a train, and the train is now done. I have decided to change the train's design a little bit, at least the propulsion section. It's a bit hard to see, but what I've done over here is attach a... you know what? Screw it. I have attached a generator to the engine. 2 generators, in fact. And that is pretty much how the train works. I am not going to use the engine to directly drive the train. This one drives a generator, and then a couple, yes, only a few electric motors drive the actual train. So this one is a sort of a diesel electric train in the end. I also have added a couple, let me just reload it. I have added a couple of systems to ensure that I don't lose control of the train. This is my dead man switch. The way that this thing works is that it has a player sensor. If a player is detected, then the train uses the throttle. If the player falls off, so if the player is no longer detected, then immediately the brakes come on and the train just immediately slows down. Now, it is time to put this thing to work because we have some cargo to haul. Unfortunately, it is night, so what I'm going to do is install a bed and make sure that it's actually daylight, because that'll probably make loading the train a lot easier. I'm just going to have to get a little unimaginative here and temporarily place a bed on the side. At least I'm dry this time. There we go. One of the missions is expired, well that's fine. I'm not really doing missions at the moment, I am just trying to get cargo shipped. Train's price is 13,602, which fits perfectly in my budget of 56k. Now I've found that this train is really fast, even just with an electric setup. Let's not apply the brakes. Let's go for a bit of throttle. Where was my engine starter? Here. And then the engines just need to be on very, very little. No. I have used W and S to control the train, because I think that'll be sufficient. And I'm barely using any fuel at the moment. I have to keep an eye, of course, on my battery power. But considering that I have a fairly substantial battery, it should not be an issue. Alright, that's one. Now I have to spawn in a few more things. Because I still have to get the train's cargo onto the train. And I need to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those cargo sets. Hope I can afford that. I believe it wasn't too heavy, my container car. Quite unimaginative. One thing that I haven't done is attached connectors. So I just hope that these things don't fly off the sides. Price? Very low, 1,710. Oh, one thing though. Yeah, I did attach a connector to the train. Good. Lovely thing is, you can just shove these things. Really, really strong man over here. And I can just shove these things towards the train. And with their momentum, they actually take quite a bit of time to slow down. So, turn this thing on. That's the connector coming to life. Turn this... Whoa! Turn this thing on. That's the connector. There. Push it into the train. And the connectors find each other. That's one. I just have to do that a few more times. A little while later, I have my train and my 5 little carriages behind it. Moving the train slightly forward, because if I have it too close to the terminal, I cannot get the crane out. So with the crane, with the train parked at a decent distance, low RPS, I'm still burning some fuel, which I don't really need that much of. Actually, my battery's full, I can just kill the engine altogether. Now let's see if these things want to take on some cargo. This is going to be the real test of the train. Will I be able to plant these things safely onto the carriages? They're not attached. They're not carrying anything. So it remains to be seen whether this will work. The container stacker, once again. Alright. Let's get this thing out. Now some of them have to go to the container north, and some of them have to go to the container south of Sawyer Islands. But nevertheless, they all have to more or less go in that direction. So it doesn't really matter which way or which method I load them in. Just gotta make sure that they get loaded. Alright. This might be a bit of fine maneuvering, which is generally not my strength. Up. Is that thing on? My connectors are on, but I'm not sure if those on the container are. Yeah, now they are. There we go. Up. Gotta extend. Oh, shit. No! Well, that's unfortunate. How am I gonna get that thing upright? How am I gonna do that? The connectors are still... well, they're not attached, but they're active. So if I pull it in a little bit, I'm gonna try to connect it. I might be... Yep, come here. Come here. No. That's my own vessel. Yep, that's it. I'm just doing that with a container supposedly full of jet fuel. Apparently that stuff is not volatile, otherwise it would have potentially gone up. Although in the works of Stormworks, or the world of Stormworks, it's usually not that big of a threat. Alright, let's try this again. Let's see if I can line this thing up. Careful, careful, careful. Whoa, what are you doing? What the hell? Stop. What the hell is this thing doing? Why are you only trying to turn to the left? Okay, respawn this one. Let's try this again, because that didn't really seem to want to work. It's like something is sticking to my... Oh, for some reason... Yeah, there we go. For some reason my trim was fighting me. I must have had Alt pressed when I was trying to change the direction of the vehicle. And that changes the trim. Right. Once again, going for the fuel container. Up. Expand. I'm glad that thing is back on its feet again. Stop, down, slightly forward. Ah, that's when I'm doing it. That's when I'm holding Alt. Hold. No, don't push it over. It's bad manners. Come on, lift it up. There we go. Up. A bit farther outwards. Now line up with one of the containers. Ah, yeah, I get... Whoa, 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 whoa. I get it now. I've been playing a lot of Space Engineers lately. And in order to change your outlook on your vehicle, you have to hold Alt, and then you can move the cursor. Then you can move the perspective on your vehicle. You don't have to do that in Stormworks. So it's an automatic response to a different game. Alright, up. Forwards. Try not to slip down. These things are big enough. And I hope that the mass of the container itself is going to hold it down. Forwards a bit. There. Hold on. Like that. Ta-da! First one is done. The first one is done. Right, I just have to do that 4 more times. A good 20 minutes later, I finally have all the cargo on the train. I had to actually do it again. Because what I managed to do was crash the forklift into one of the train carriages, which then promptly caught on fire. So I had to despawn the whole thing, respawn all the trains, and finally have them attached. Anyway, at this point we are good to go. We have our cargo, now we only have to head out. And it is going to be a while. It's going to be quite the trip. I have to keep an eye on where exactly this switch is going, because I don't really want to end up in the Arctic. I'll probably go through here, then loop back to the south, back to the north, and then somewhere here there might be another intersection. We're going to head back south and to the west. So it is going to be quite the trip. Fortunately, we have a fuel tank of gas. Well, not a fuel, a full tank of gas. And we have a train that is eager to go. And in my experience, this train can go pretty fast. Although, to be fair, that experience comes from a train which is not fully loaded. Right now, it is pretty heavily loaded. And that means that I'm not doing exactly the same speed that I would like. What I can do, however, is add the clutch. But my RPS doesn't like that at all. There we go. Now I'm using the engine directly for, well, not thrust, but for movement. And we're getting up to 90. 100. I know that this is relatively slow for trains in Stormworks, because these things can go a hell of a lot faster. I've seen speeds of 300 and more. We still have all of our cargo. I really hope it's going to stay that way, because those containers are being packed together by just one little line, and that, well, that has to be enough. Looks like we're going to have another tunnel here, and then I have to keep an eye on the switch there, because I really don't want to end up all the way over here in Terminal Komodo. Although, maybe in a future expedition I'll go there, bring a forklift, and pick up the cargo that's over there. For now, it's going to be a pretty smooth train ride. It is going to take me probably a good 15 minutes to get to my destination. But in the meanwhile, we're also exploring more of the map, especially as we continue on farther north. So let's give it a bit more thrust. Or throttle, I suppose. There's the other tunnel. Here's another terminal, just for apparently one church. I know that I can go a hell of a lot faster with this thing, but I don't want to. Not yet. Not until I have a clear stretch that I can run on, but I might have to flip the switch here. And if I do, I want to not have 300 kph that I have to slow down with. In the meanwhile, we have the other train track coming from / going to the other side. And it's actually a pretty nice ride. Just chugging along at a casual 120 kph with plenty of fuel. Now we are coming up to the intersection, to the crossing. Let's slow down a bit, because I really don't know which one or where this one exactly goes. Nor do I exactly know how to read that. And we are going the wrong way. Hit the brakes. Yeah, we are going to have to slow the hell down. Cut the brakes. And we're going to have to reverse. This, fortunately, is a pretty easy exercise, given that I have the electric motor on. Because, yes, I have reverse on this train, but I'd rather not use it. Not clutch. Start the engine, please. Just to keep my battery up to power. Looks like the engine's getting a bit hungry now. Not that much, please. Gonna have to back all the way up here. Come on. So far the cargo seems steady enough. It hasn't fallen off yet. Okay, power's good. Hit the brakes. Let's get off the train. All you had to do was follow the damn train, CJ. Switch. What I'm looking for is the other way. Like that. Give it a bit more thrust. I'm so used to giving thrust, but it's called throttle in this game. Start the engine again. Cancel the brakes. Now give it a bit of speed. Using the electric motor. Come on. We have to use the electric motor to bring the engine up to par. There we go. Alright. Unfortunately for these guys, a road vehicle incident's been reported. We're not quite going to attend to that. Now I cannot go full speed because there's another intersection coming up. And I believe I have to take this one. So about 80 to 90 is fine. I have to keep a really close eye on what the signal says. I don't want to end up on the wrong side. Let's see. I think that means we can continue. Go on. Oh, I hit the brakes. Alright, with the signal the right way, we can get up to a good speed. Let's give it a full thrust. Or throttle. And see how... Whoa. I'm not using the brakes on anything. What is sparking? And why am I sparking? It's a nice effect, but I did not turn on the brakes. Maybe I'm skidding. There we go. There was a bit of skidding going on. And that was causing all those sparks. Now, let's engage one of the gearboxes. Gotta make sure I still stay up to speed. Probably doing the engine a bit too much here. Yeah, skidding again. Speed up. Where do we end up? Come on. Keep at speed. I installed this gearbox to ensure that the generator gets enough, but apparently the train doesn't really like it when I'm just using the train's main engine directly for speed. Let it just chug up to speed. 150. Yeah, we're going the right way. 160. Still skidding a little. 170. 180. This is kph, by the way, that you're looking at. 190. I'm still seeing 5 cargo units, so that's fine. 200. Uh-oh. Whoa! We may have a problem. I appear to have lost 5 units of cargo. Shit. This is what happens when your cargo is not actually attached to your wagons. All sorts of stuff goes wrong. And I now have a few containers which are probably over here in the water. And one or more which are on the train tracks. But I couldn't tell you since it's dark. And I can't quite see them. I can see 1, 2, 1 floating. And I don't know about the other one. There might be one down there, or that's a reflection of that container. I'm not sure. So, that is pretty bad news. That's quite a bit of valuable cargo, but considering that they're burning, I'm not sure I want to get anywhere near those. That is not looking promising. So, it looks like the entire endeavor is a complete failure. Unless I unload an autosave. Maybe 200 kph was a bit much. Maybe it was a bit too much for what I had in mind. Let's load the save. Let's see what I still have. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I still have to do... No, never mind. I'm done. I still have all my cargo. Alright, this time I'm going to do it quite a bit safer and see if I can actually get to where I need to be. So I'm going to pause it here and hope that you join me in a bit. Right, about 1, maybe 2 autosaves later, I am back on track, literally and figuratively. I've transited quite a bit from the Spy Cakes Freight Terminal, almost passing the initial startle base, is it startle? Starter base, the Coast Guard outpost, and I am on approach towards the Northern Harbour. What I have learned is that if your cargo is not attached, they have a tendency to not enjoy being hauled around turns in any kind of a speedy manner. It's not that they immediately fly off, but you can see with this bit of spam container, it is chugging back and forth into its little container bed quite a bit. And some of these turns have turned out to be quite sharp. I was going through this turn, this bend at about 150, and boom, they flew off again. Off with the containers, out with the cargo. I might actually try and do this at the Sawyer North, because it is where the cargo needs to go. But if I chug it off like that, it's probably not going to arrive intact, and that might not benefit the profitability. Now, I believe that what I have is 3 containers for north and 2 for south, which I still haven't discovered. So I'm carrying about 35k worth of cargo. But my god, is this a tedious process. Training, just hauling stuff on a train and hoping that you don't lose it, I mean, I should have attached it, is just tedious and boring for me. I don't enjoy this bit. So this will be the only train journey that I do, and the rest of it is once again going to be spent on actual rescues. But since this was the first time that I did the whole training thing, I wanted to see how it goes, whether it's something that I enjoy, and whether it's profitable. And it probably is profitable, if you can keep it up for a longer while, but for me, nah, not so much. Not too interested. Now, the only thing that I still have to keep in mind is that I have to make this turn without my cargo flying off the train, and then I have to unload it at the terminal. How exactly that works, I don't know either. I don't know where it's supposed to go. I don't know if it has some sort of designated zone where I need to drop it off. I don't know if it then despawns, or if it's just going to pile up there with the rest of the cargo that eventually has to go to the terminal. I don't know any of these things, so we're just going to have to try and see what works. And here we are, currently approaching Sawyer North. The profit margin on this trip is going to be really high. I burned about 800 liters of fuel, somewhere in that range, and that means that with a profit of I think 13 to 30,000, actually 13,000 per container, more or less. Holy shit, something exploded. I guess it was part of the train. Oh, there we go. Cargo's been delivered. 8k, 9k. Is the rest for the other terminal then? Let me check. Anyway, as I was saying, I spent about 600 to 700 on fuel. And the rest of it is profit. Sawyer North, check. Sawyer North, check. Sawyer South, that's another 10, which has gotten a lot closer to where it needs to be. Sawyer South for 7, and Sawyer South for 6. So, I just need to get these things off of the train, which I seem to have impressively wrecked. I'm not sure what happened here, but it looks like they collided. Or the containers might have collided with the trains. Or with the train parts. I'm really not sure what the hell is happening here, but my train is not really enjoying whatever it is. Does it still want to move? Or is it just completely wrecked? It really does not want to move. Give me a bit of power. Just to get my battery back up. Oh, sorry, no, we're still moving. A bit. I think. Or are we? Because the train's not braking. Yeah, right. Well, I guess we can call this train journey completed. I really hope that I can despawn this thing. I might, however, have to detach the cargo first, if this thing is still even functional. Which... it is not. Okay, well, it looks like I have a bit of cleanup to do, but I'll do that off screen. At least we made 17,000, finally. And that puts the budget at 62k, plus, of course, the parts that I can despawn, which is another 13k for the train, and about 1,700 per carriage. I might have to do some welding, though, to get these things back operational. Anyway, that'll be it for this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It'll be the only time that I'm using trains, at least for now. The only other time you might see me use a train, if I eventually end up doing that, is from the Spy Cakes terminal or from here and go all the way into the Arctic. But I might as well use an aircraft for that. Anyway, this is it. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little trip, and I shall see you guys next week for the next part of Stormworks.